Smile.
As you can see, I'm not Rabbi Wolf. As you can hear, the microphone's not on. Yeah. I don't know what Rabbi Wolf was going to be speaking about. So of course, I thought maybe it'd be interesting to talk about an Indian, which is rather relevant to the mats that the Klal Yisrael finds itself in at the moment. I don't know about you, but I have never seen a more schwer, more dangerous, and more scary mats of the Klal Yisrael than we've seen in the last few weeks. There seems to be a unanimity in the world of tremendous hatred and anti-Semitism. Very reminiscent, as everybody, all the commentators are saying, very reminiscent of the 1930s. It's hard to think of any chiluk at all when you've got people marching up and down the streets of Europe saying, kill the Jews, Hitler was right. The situation is obviously extremely serious. In fact, if you looked at Seder yesterday, there wasn't a lot of comfort there. Moshe Rabbeinu really gives us what for. Oh, you're Amshim Orav. Oh, and you made the Eglas of. Oh, yeah. So I thought, Taka, it might be an idea to address this the situation. And so there seems to be a Gazar Din in Shemayim, which is not so good. Can you change the Gazar Din? Can you change it? Sorry? You give me a share, I give a share. No, I was asking a question. It's rhetorical. I'll tell you when. Now, and because this share was not anticipated, if I tell you anything I've told you before, you just pretend that I haven't. But one thing I remember telling you before is a mice that happened when I used to live. It's painful to say this. When I used to live in Manchester, I used to teach more private lessons. On Sunday morning, I had 3 little boys that came for private lessons. The first little boy, I don't know if you recall this story, the first little boy came in, and he sat down opposite me, and it was the Seder of Pinchas. So he said to me, Rabbi Rubinstein, I said, yes. He said, why is Pinchas written with a little yud? And it's a question I'd always thought about. I looked around the room, I hadn't found anything. So I reacted the way that all good machanchim react when somebody asks them a question they haven't got a clue. They go, aha! That's an excellent question. I'm glad you asked that. I've planned out a lesson. If we've got time at the end, I'll come back to it. If not, I'll tell you next week. Then, of course, he makes sure that you've got time at the end of the lesson. So off he went, and then came time for a cup of coffee, and the next little boy. When he comes, and he sits down and he says, Rabbi Rubinstein, I noticed in the Seder yesterday, Pinchas is written with a little yud. Why is it written with a little yud? Aha! I'd never the same spiel again. Knocked a cup of coffee after he finished, the third little boy. By the time the third little boy sat down and opened his mouth and said, Rabbi Rubinstein, why is Pinchas written with a little yud? I realized they were phoning each other up. He doesn't know why Pinchas is written with a little yud. Do you know? Anyway, self called self. Why is Pinchas written with a little? I found an answer for the next week. Because the Torah says something that I have to warn you here. If you are Hasidish, particularly with a Polish Havora, you're going to love this font. If you're a Kalta Litvak like me, you're going to cringe. Although there's not a Torah, was a Kalta Litvak like me, so anyway, self called self. This is what he says. It says there's not a Torah, the reason that Pinchas is written with a little yud, or a little yid, is because Pinchas was a little yid. Oh, all right. So if you look, but the more I thought about this, the more gewaldig it is. And I'll show you in a moment the Sasem, so it really is a Hasidic Shavar. Kamat says it takes it up a notch, but it's mamish gewaldig. So the Emes, there's something very important to say here. Pinchas is a little yid. We don't hear about Pinchas in the Torah except it is born until he does what he does in the Maaseh of Zimri. And when he does that, mamish gewaldig, and he gets a bris sholem. The bris sholem, he never dies. He attains immortality. He, as they would say in America, morphs into Eliyahu Hanavi. Why? Because he says Klal Yisrael. 24,000 people killed, And he stops the Megillah. And again, this Bible Torah says, but why didn't Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron the Kohen get the same schar? Because they saved Klal Yisrael many times. So why wasn't Moshe given the priest Shalom? Why wasn't Aaron the Kohen given the priest Shalom? So I want you to imagine the following. I don't know if you know, there is a publication, I'm not sure if it's still about, there was a publication called the Reader's Digest. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. When I went to learn in Gateshead, a little while back, everybody got the Reader's Digest. Now, to be honest, it was specifically set aside for reading in a particular area of the house. And I got the Reader's Digest as well. And the reason I stopped getting it after a year is because it's incredibly boring. It's incredibly repetitive, the exact same formula. And in the Reader's Digest, they always have something called drama in real life. And the drama in real life story is always about somebody, or some people, who are in incredible danger, incredible sakana. And so there's a building that goes in fire, or there's a ship that sinks, or whatever, surrounded by sharks, and they always at the last moment become Balachu. They always dabble at the last moment, and they get saved, and there's always a picture of them, all airbrushed, looking, gorgeous and handsome, and smiling with a lot of American dental work on display. Looking as though the only problem or drama they've ever had in their life is when they went to Tesco and discovered they left the credit card behind. I mean, it's not anyway. Sure. So I want you to imagine the following thing. United Airlines Flight 123 from New York to San Francisco, and it is 2 hours outside San Francisco when the pilot had a massive heart attack and died at the controls. The co-pilot took over the flight, and statistically impossible, but 10 minutes later he had a massive heart attack and he died as well. The stewardess, Rush, incidentally, Rabbi say you're no longer allowed to say stewardess. I don't know if you know this, that's not politically correct. You've got to say the flight attendant. So the flight attendantess rushes into the cabin and she says, both pilots have had heart attacks. Can anybody fly the plane? So in row 14A, a fellow stands up and says, well, actually, I just retired last year. I'm a fully qualified airline pilot. In fact, I used to fly these jets. I can fly it. He takes over the controls. He executes a perfect landing at San Francisco Airport. Will this make it into drama in real life, gentlemen? No. Exact same scenario. United Airlines Flight 123, 2 hours outside San Francisco. Oh, I have a flight from New York. Pilot has a massive heart attack. Co-pilot has a massive heart attack. Stewardess rushes into the compartment and says, can anybody fly the jet? Both pilots have died. And in row 12B, a Boy Scout leaps up from his seat. He says, I've read about this in my comic books. I think I might be able to help if I get instructions from the tower. He takes over, they tell him what to do, and he executes a near-perfect landing in San Francisco. Will this make it into drama in real life? Yeah. Oh, yes. Right. The reason that Aaron and Moshe don't get a brief shalom for what they did is because Moshe is the pilot and Aaron's the co-pilot. That's their job. We expect that of them. But the fact that a little lead, a Pinchas, does what he did, that's gadlus. So it's a shtickle Hasidic Shavor, but let's go to the Sfas Emes and let's confirm this. The Sfas Emes says a very interesting thing. He says that the Emes, he really was a Kohen beforehand because the Gedel, the stempel of a Kohen, is a Hava and Chesed. And really he had that all along. Aber Pinchas Zoka Gam came Bedin. And normally they get it with Yerusha, but Pinchas got it Bedin because of what he did. Because he made a kapara for Klal Yisrael. And the Pasuk says, Bekornoi es genosik besoichem. What's besoichem? Per shelo yotze meklaus chas Hashem al yidei hakim hakat. What Pinchas did was betoich Klal Yisrael. It was to be part of Klal Yisrael, not in order to gain any gadlus. Right? Either of a hate or cause of the law shelo also adoba kidin l'zachas l'madregas kedayma. He did it mamish l'shem shemayim. Right? Hichnes al ma'aseh beklal Yisrael ba'aseh rak laharos. And he did it, and it had to come from Pinchas and not Moshe, to demonstrate Shechota ben Yisrael in Kolzeh, that when Klal Yisrael has made a big mistake and done something wrong, in Kol Zeh, Yesh Behem Mishinok, there is amongst Klal Yisrael always a small Jew, an ordinary Jew, who can act and make all the difference. A little yid. Not a Moshe, not an Aaron, but a little yid can make all the difference. Now, I don't know about you. I consider myself to be a profoundly mundane Jew. A very ordinary Jew. And probably, I'm guessing, you probably do too. But that would be a mistake. There's no such thing as an ordinary Jew. And verkehrt, as the Sfas Emes is saying here, a little yid, verkehrt, a little yid can make the Nafkamina have an impact in Klal Yisrael that the pilot and the co-pilot, the Moshe and the Aaron can. A little yid. Now, versteht sich, the title we give Moshe Rabbeinu is Moshe Rabbeinu. And everything we know and everything we learn about connecting to Hashem is Baruch, we learn from Moshe Rabbeinu. That's his title. He's our teacher. So, Taka, if you want to change a Gazal Din, if Klal Yisrael finds itself in a very shver matzav, then obviously the instruction would come from Moshe Rabbeinu as well. How he would do such a thing is how we should do such a thing. So there's a Gemara Brachos, and you all know this Gemara, of course, but it's a Gemara and Brachos and Lamed Beis Amud Aleph. And the Gemara says this: Omer Rabbi Chama bar Rabbi Chanina, in a mono shosh we cross the Lolam, it's mighty till Regleim Shal Tzoni Yisrael. If there wasn't 3 psukim, then the legs, the feet of the haters of Klal Yisrael would stumble, but that's the euphemism for talking about Klal Yisrael. If we didn't have 3 psukim to defend us, then we would be in deep and profound trouble. And the Pasuk, the Gemara then brings various psukim to prove or to defend Klal Yisrael. One of them is a Pasuk from Micha Dalad, V'asher Hari Yosi. That the Pasuk says at the end, when the Mashiach will come, then the Rosh will bring those people, Asher Hari Yosi, from all over the world and bring them back to Eretz Yisrael. Asher Hari Yosi. That I made them do wrong. The Rabbi made us do wrong. That's a pasuk. Doesn't mean the Rabbi made us do wrong. This goes on to say, oh yeah, Klal Yisrael made mistakes. Of course we made mistakes. And did things wrong. But that's because we had a Yetzer Hara. And who gave us one of those? You did. That's Ryan number 1. Noch a pasuk. Noch a pasuk is a pasuk in Chesed, but Zorosi is lev ha'even mi'misrechem nasatem lechem is lev moshe. I'll take away that stone heart that you have, the stone from your heart, the stone that's talking the Yetzer Hara again. At the end of days, the Rosh is going to take away the Yetzer Hara and replace it with a soft heart, an open heart, and everything will be Gevaldik. So when it's not Gevaldik, why? Because we have the Yetzer Hara. Who gives the Yetzer Hara? You do. And there's noch a pasuk. And then actually, the Gemara goes on to bring lots and lots of psukim. But the one that I like the best, there's 2 forms of this. Here's the form that it says here in the Gemara, but I'm going to give you the form that the Alshich brings from the Medrash. The Alshich brings this many times. And he says, and this is Moshe Rabbeinu is defending us for the biggest mistake the Klal Yisrael ever made, which was the Higla Zov. And he says, and whenever I see this in the Lashon of the Medrash or the Lashon of the Alshich, I must admit I always laugh. Because Moshe Rabbeinu said to Hashem Yisborach, in his defense of Klal Yisrael, a moshel l'chol l'ma'adon adayna. Let me give you a moshel. Now, if you give somebody a moshel, why do you give a moshel? Why do we use a moshel? You ever considered this? You've got a difficult idea. So to make the idea more digestible, more understandable, you give a moshel. It's a moshel. And here's Moshe Rabbeinu talking to Hashem Yisborach. A moshel l'chol l'ma'adon adayna. That's the Lashon of the Medrash. I'll give you a motion. And it sounds ridiculous. What's the motion? I'll come back to what he's really saying in a second. So this is the motion. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, Hashem Yisborach, there was a father, and the father had a son. The son was a very handsome fellow. The father wanted to set his son up in business. He decided the best business for him would be to open a shop in a shuk and to sell perfume. The shuk was full of Zionists, non-Jewish Zionists. So says the Medrash, youth played its part. The scent, the fragrance coming out from the shop that drew in for Shtetzach, I mean, what's perfume sold to? Who's it sold to? In came the Zionists. And the inevitable happened. The Nimshol, the handsome young fellow, that was Klal Yisrael. The shuk full of Zionists, that was Mitzrayim, Molly Zima. And the father who put his son in this situation, that was you. That was you, Hashem Yisborach.
So guess what? They fell, they slipped up, they made the eagles up. And whose fault's that?
Moshe Rabbeinu defending Klal Yisrael. It's interessant. Yesterday in the center, boy, he gives us what for. Dov says, Musa, you're an Amshi Orev. I don't think you're getting into Eretz Yisrael because it's so good. You're not so good. You're Amshi Orev, and they're just bad. That's giving us Musa. But boy, he's giving Hilamos. He's defending us to Shemaim as well. Now remember, there's a Gazal Din, and Moshe Rabbeinu is facing a demand for the destruction of Klal Yisrael every single year. We're going to start again from him. And the Gemara goes on to say, when Hashem Yisborach says to him, leave me alone and I will finish them off. Moshe Rabbeinu chaps, there's a hint there, there's a remes. The Gemara goes on to say that Moshe Rabbeinu chaps, if he says, leave me alone, I will finish them off. If I don't leave him alone, I won't finish them off. And that's what he argues. The Gemara, the Lush of the Gemara is here, he bombards Shemayim with tefillos. He will not let go, he defends. And what is the Mahalach? What's the Mahalach here? There's a common denominator running through. And the common denominator running through this is, he's emphasizing it's not our fault. Not completely our fault. Don't get me wrong, Klal Yisrael make mistakes, but it's a bit like when the judge passes the judgment, the person's guilty. But then the defense says, but it's a Yotzi Neklal. You bring in character witnesses, and you say that this is not the normal behavior of the fellow, to mitigate the sentence. 10 years, could be 5 years, whatever. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu is doing here. Klal Yisrael made mistakes, but they're not completely guilty. There are things that caused that. When there's a Gezar Din against Klal Yisrael, if we learn from Moshe Rabbeinu and his Mahalach to change the Gezar Din, and he does change the Gezar Din, at the end of it, Hashem Yisborach is masking. I'm asking to what you say. So Hashem Yisborach lets Klal Yisrael off the hook. It's not going to be the wiped out Klal Yisrael. So Mahalach number one is, Moshe Rabbeinu says it's not their fault. You can look for reasons that cause a person to do something wrong, even the creation of the Yitzhak. Then, there is another Mahalach. This Mahalach is beautifully pointed out by the Ramban and by the Alshich, and that is when Klal Yisrael makes the next enormous mistake that we make. And remember, of course, that Moshe Rabbeinu is told that whenever Klal Yisrael is in trouble, ask Lefwanai, do before me the Yud Gimel Minas, Hashem, Kevrach, Hashem, etc., and that will be sufficient to get Klal Yisrael off the hook. Now, obviously, that is total nonsense. Because through all Klal Yisrael's history, faced with pogrom and crusade and all sorts of terrible things, and of course, the shuls have been filled by Yidden screaming from the depths of their sincerity, Hashem, Kevrach, B'chanun. As Mephoshim pointed out, it doesn't actually, Moshe wasn't actually told, say it. He was told, do it. That's very important. As the Lefwanai, do the Yud Gimel Minas. We're supposed to be Balachta B'drachav. Zekeli, Bandeu, Ani, Vahu. You're supposed to copy Hashem's behavior. Because one of our boys, I think we all know, that tefillah is not always the appropriate response. Is it? Sometimes tefillah is an enormous mistake. And that's what Klal Yisrael was told, and Moshe Rabbeinu was told to tell Klal Yisrael when they're standing with their backs to the Yam Suf, an Egyptian army chasing towards them, and just about to fire their arrows, and this, Moshe, help! Daven to Hashem! And he did daven to Hashem, and Hashem said, why are you asking me to do something? Get them to do something! And then they go to the Yam, and then that changes. You see, when you're davening, you're saying, Rabbi Hashem, you do! And sometimes Hashem says, me do, you do. It's a question of doing. So first of all, when you're defending Klal Yisrael, and then Klal Yisrael means you as well. Don't forget, when we're coming, as I said, don't mention Rosh Hashanah to me, and we're not going to talk about Rosh Hashanah. Of course, we'll be 2 days Rosh Hashanah, because there's the Yochidim, there's the Prat, that's you as an individual, and then there's the Klal. We belong to the Klal, we affect the Klal affects us. 2 days Rosh Hashanah, 2 different Zardins, and also 2 possible different outcomes. But one of the things you have to bear in mind is that you've got to do as well. It's not just a question of that. Simply davening and doing, that's the mamish gewaldig. So here Moshe Rabbeinu is told, the Yud Gimel Minas, Klal Yisrael fall into the next enormous mistake, which is the spies bring back the dreadful report. Hashem Yisborach again says they're going to finish them off, And now the moment for the Yud Gimel Midas and Moshe Rabbeinu's defense. And the Rosh already told them how the defense works. And for some peculiar reason, he doesn't do it. Hashem, Hashem, Kerachim, Mechanach, we all know the words. So here's Moshe Rabbeinu. Hashem! Erech Apayim. What? Hashem, Hashem! Kale, what happened to the kale? What? Erech Apayim. Baruch Chesed, Moshe, oh, Mefesh Menach. Not sure if Moshe Rabbeinu cut 7, if I remember rightly 7. It's supposed to be 13. And he cuts it down to 7. Hashem Yisborach himself said, this is the formula. This is the mahalach. How can you do it? What I imagine was a doctor who was treating somebody and he says to the nurse, I'm going home for the night, don't forget that Mr. Cohen has to have 20 milligrams of medicine A at 1 o'clock and 40 milligrams of medicine B at 3 o'clock and 60 milligrams of medicine C at 6 o'clock. And I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. So he comes back tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, next morning at 10 o'clock, he says to the nurse, how's Mr. Cohen? She said, he's dead. He's dead? Yeah. What happened? Did you give him the medication? Yes. Exactly as I told you to? Well, not exactly. What do you mean not exactly? Well, you see, doctor, you told me to give 20 milligrams of medicine A and 40 milligrams of medicine B. But you see, medicine A is blue and medicine B is pink. I've always liked pink. It's just my favorite color. So I thought rather than give 20 milligrams of the blue stuff, I'll give 40 milligrams of the pink stuff. Change it around. My sugar killed it. If this is exactly what you're supposed, who are you to? You're only a nurse. Well, in Ben Moshe Climber, Moshe Rabbeinu is told by Hashem Yisborach, this is the formula, and you're changing it. So what's going on? So the Alshach says, interesting, that here's another mahalach in Moshe Rabbeinu's defense of Klal Yisrael. And that is, if he uses what it's supposed to say Hashem, Hashem. Well, and he just says Hashem once. Why does he change it? So it's interesting, that you all remember the Rashi there. Why Hashem twice? Well, he's Hashem, that's Midas Harachim before the person does the Shuvah. And he's the Midas Harachim after the person does the Shuvah. That's the two Hashems. Therefore, as Klal Yisrael has not done Teshuvah yet, he only uses one. Because that would point out, use two, that's not appropriate. Actually, I'm ready for Rachim, but it's pointing out they haven't done Teshuvah. You make things worse. Not Tzachesed Alafim. He misses that one out as well. We don't have time to go through them all. Why did he miss it? Not Tzachesed Alafim. Well, not Tzachesed Alafim was a promise to the Always that you know what? What you do right is an investment that's going to bring fruit for your children, and the fruit for the children is the promise of Eretz Yisrael. And these are the children, and they're throwing it away. So to point out what Tzachesed Alafim is to point out the rebellion of Klal Yisrael against the gift promised to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. That'll make things worse. So once your Rebbeinu misses that out, we don't have time to go through them all, but you can give a cook in the Alshach and see. In other words, when you're defending Klal Yisrael, then point to the positive things that they do, not the negative. De-emphasize the negative and emphasize the positive. That's for Klal Yisrael, and it's for you as well. And listen to this. I just saw this 2 weeks ago. I'm telling you, I was jumping up and down when I found this. When I was in Gateshead Yeshiva, it was Rabbeinu Bechaya. Recently, he's become Rabbeinu Bachya. I have not a clue which one it is, but it's that book there. And you all know who this Rishon is anyway. And he says, a moira de Kazach. Everybody remembers that when Moshe Rabbeinu goes out to carry out the instructions of Hashem to take vengeance against Midian for the 24,000 Yidden he had engineered would die, then Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, go out and fight a war of vengeance for Klal Yisrael. And of course Moshe Rabbeinu changes it and says to Klal Yisrael, a war of vengeance for Hashem. He changed it again. Why? Listen to the Lashon. I looked for 10 minutes for the Sefer before, it's so important. Remember what Rashi says there. Rashi says there, Moshe changed it because you're fighting against Klal Yisrael, you are fighting against Hashem Yisbarach. You are. Listen to what Rabbi says. Listen to this. If we didn't circumcise ourselves, or if we practiced and believed and behaved the exact same as all the nations of the world, they wouldn't hate us at all. They wouldn't hate us at all. If we were just the same as them. There would just be other people. There would be the Scots and the Irish and the French and the Norwegians and there would be the Jews and other people. We'd do the same. We'd do basically like that, wouldn't we? We wouldn't keep mitzvahs. And they would leave us alone. We'd just be the same as everybody else. Well, my sign in the sun is, why do they hate us? Well, they hate us. But she'll have time about mitzvahs, she'll not alone. They hate us because of the mitzvahs that you gave us, and which we keep, and which we do. And the Kol shall call. You know why I changed it? It's not a war against Klal Yisrael, it's a war against you, because anybody who fights against Klal Yisrael is fighting against Hashem. It's only because we keep Torah and mitzvahs they hate us. It's you! We're fighting for you. More of it. And then, having said everything I've said, there's the headache. And the headache is this famous posuk here. So Moshe Rabbeinu, in his defense of Klal Yisrael, you see how we do this? See how you defend Klal Yisrael? Let's just remind ourselves what we're talking about here. You defend Klal Yisrael in the first instance by emphasizing it's not completely our fault. There are circumstances. I mean, sometimes you see me not in Makaber when somebody else sees from a human that comes there in Rosh Hashanah. And talking, maybe they hurt you, maybe they did something very wrong. As my Rav, the gates of Rav, like Tzaddik Kodesh Baruch Rabbi Rakham said to me, it can help if you feel sorry for the person. Maybe they didn't behave badly. And why does a person behave badly? Maybe it's his upbringing, maybe something happened to him. Maybe it's just he's not as sensitive as you are. So sometimes a person behaves badly and we behave badly because of things that made us behave badly. You've got to say that. You've got to say that. You can say that to Hashem Yisbarach. We're walking in the footsteps of Moshe Rabbeinu. How do you get Klal Yisrael off the hook when the Gazar Din threatens us? Probably it's not completely our fault. And then emphasize all the good things of Klal Yisrael. The guy Rabbi used to say, when people came in Tainus and upset, somebody else had upset them, the guy Rabbi used to say, Yidden are good. Oh, Yidden? No, not all Yidden. All the time? Not all the time. But basically, the core of a Yid's it's a good person. It's a good person. And here, last thing Rabbi points out, and they only hate us because we keep Torah and mitzvahs. And so much hatred against Klal Yisrael that we're seeing, not in my lifetime. Nothing like it in my lifetime. That means we are keeping Torah and mitzvahs. Doesn't it? It means we're doing it. We're doing our job. And then, if Moshe Rabbeinu has been successful, Samachti Kavarecho, and the Gemara says there, we know he got us off the hook from the Egel and the Maisa Meragim, Afal Pikein. The Pasuk says, Ato lech l'cheh es ha'am el asher dibata loch. Hine, Malochi yelech ofanecha u'meyoyim pokadati u'vokadati alev ato sol. Rashi says, V'yokadati ad shmati yelech Malochi echad sorry, pokadati alev ma'at min ha'ovan hazeh im shar ha'avoyas. Whenever in the future Klal Yisrael does something wrong, I will put a little bit of the punishment for the Egel result will be included in this. I thought he got us off the hook. And what does it mean that we're going to be punished for something back then? I can do it now. It's a wonderful sefer called Shvili Pinchas. I learned this with Alan Freeman, the well-known dentist, every week. I'm in New York and he's in Manchester. We learned something called Skype. You can see each other in the computer screen. And he said something remarkable. So Klal Yisrael made the Egel Azov. We all know the Klal Yisrael makes the Egel Azov. Fine. Why did we make the Egel Azov? Well, the problem says the Shvili Pinchas says it's a Gemara. The Gemara says that Klal Yisrael was not right to do such a thing. They would never have done such a thing, though. They wouldn't have chosen to do such a thing. Look, you wake up every morning, you've been snoozing and snoring and having a nice time, but while you've been snoozing, the Yitzhar has been wide awake and deploying new tactics to destroy you the next day. Because Mechadish, the Kol Yom against you every day. Can you beat your Yitzhar? Nu Bali Musa. Can you beat your Yitzhar?
Absolutely not. No chance. He's a genius.
But if Hashem is Baruch beside you, then you can do it. You need an alliance. You and Hashem is Baruch. And the mice of the eagle, Hashem simply removed his alliance. So that it could happen. Same with David HaMelech in Bathsheba. He removed his support of David HaMelech so that the thing would happen. Why? Says the Gemara. Because if you live in a generation that seems to be mamish in terrible sorrows, and you think, you despair, will not get out of this, you should remember there was a door that was so bad that Hashem Yisborach said, I'll finish them off completely. And we're forgiven. Same if an individual does something wrong. And he talked to Melech, and the Vel still says, kill Hashem, kill Hashem. The MS, as we all know, was very much more complicated than that. Half a weekend, even if it is, even for kill Hashem, there's a tshuva for that as well. So you should never despair if you fail as a person, as an individual, and never if the door seems to fail. So that's why it happened. What makes the question much worse? I was then Zikr shouldn't be punished either then, and certainly not now for the things that happened then, if it was a branch who engineered it and caused it to happen in the first place. So the Shvili Pinker says something fabulous. He says, if that's the case, then really the question is the answer. Because if the Rabban Shem only allowed the Eglazov to take place so that a door would realize that if you're in a big mess and you're not doing things right, there is Teshuvah available, and you have the Yisraelis of that and do Teshuvah, the door is fixed. And anything we do wrong, well, Teshuvah wipes it all away. But if you don't have that a door can be fixed, even though Hashem is giving you a big flag, that's the Eglazov, and the forgiveness, that's when the Ovoin, the punishment of the Egel Azov, carries on. Because you're not learning the lesson of the Egel. Gewaldig! Yeah. So, I can't remember if I told you this the last time we were here. I knew I was going to share it, I've listened to it. See what, if I haven't told you this story, this is one of the most important stories I've ever had. Did I tell you the story about the Yehuda man with the number in his arm? There's a shul in Manhattan. And the shul in Manhattan, there is it's called OZ, Ohed Zedek. And it's the first time hearing shul in Manhattan. So I was doing a Shabbaton there, I was giving shiur there about 6 months ago. And there was an old Yid there. Do you ever see a face you just like? You just walk into a room, you see a face you just like. So there's an old Yid there, I'm guessing in the 70s, very smart, smartly dressed. And I like this Yid. I like this face. So I spoke there Friday night, and he smiled at me as well. So to him, noch shiur Shabbos morning, noch shmechel. Shabbos afternoon, I must have talked, in my third shiur, I must have said something that touched his heart. And he came over to me and said, a perfect American accent, even though he wasn't born in America, he said, Rabbi Rubinstein. He said, you know, it gets me I'm so upset that people talk about the Holocaust as though it was a historical event. It was not a historical event. He pulled out his arm, and there was the number in his arm. And we schmizzed a little bit more, and then I went away, and then the next day, because I write for Mishpacha magazine about the places I go, you may have seen my piece on Manchester or something. So Be'emes, I wanted to write about this Yid. And the shul I was in. So I got the number from the Rabbi, and I phoned the fellow up, and of course you're talking to somebody who's been in concentration camps, you have to be very careful. I said, Blimey, I said, I would like to write about you in my Mishpacha column. Would you mind? He said, well, as long as you don't mention my name. Okay, won't mention your name. I said, do you remember you showed me that number in your arm? And he said, yes. I said, could you tell it to me? So he said, why do you want to know my number? Well, I can't use your name, maybe I'll use your number. So he chuckled. And he said, yeah, have you got a pen and pencil? I said, yes. He said, write it down. Okay, go. So he said, 1, 6, 9, 4, 1, 6. So you can see that? I said, okay, and tell me what. He said, no. Before we go on, look at the number, what do you see? And so I looked at the number, 169016. And I said, so what do you see? He said, well, I was looking at that number on my arm 2 years ago. It was during Sirius Olympic. It was the 23rd day of Sirius Olympic. And suddenly I noticed that 1 and 6, 7, 1 and 6, 7 is 14, and then 9, that's 23. And what's 23? He said, 23 is the 23rd Psalm. Means not David, Roy, Gam ki Eilich begate Salmonis lo Iraki Atli. Some may be in the concentration camps. Okay. So, but look how I counted the flags of the matches barefoot. So I went on to the next question. He said, no. Before we go to the next question, look at the number. What do you see? So I looked at the number again. He said, what do you see? He said, well, I showed it to you. That's the way I see it, because I see it in my arm like that. But it was meant to be shown to somebody that. The number's actually that way. And then what is it? Well, 1 and 9 is 10, and 1 and 9 is 10, and then it's 6, that's 26. And what's 26? I think you gave off game, he says to me. And what do you get if you add 23, 26 together? 49. And there's 49 days this year, so I'm a calculator, that's okay. And then we're on to the next one. I said, okay, so where are you from? Czechoslovakia. Which camps were you in? Theresienstadt and Auschwitz. And I paused. I paused because I was doing the math. Czechoslovakia, that's, again, most Jews that survived the camps came from Hungary because they were in there the shortest amount of time. And then when he paused, he said something which completely lost me. He said, and when I went to Auschwitz, I was 6 years of age. And you all know what the problem is with that. Because it was the old and the young who killed through it. So let's see the babies, children, and the old. And then he said 4 words, which, you know that phrase in English, my blood ran cold? You know that phrase? I've used it many times, but it never meant anything until he said these next 4 words. I was a twin. I was a twin. And then he added, a Mengele twin. Of course, babies, children, were twins were kept for experimentation by men. And then he said, and again my blood ran cold, I was the control. Most of the experiments was done with his twin sister, and he was the control. Well, I know, and you know, a great Sadi who lived in this, when was Rabbi Yosef Minister? 9 months ago. I mean, you know, we know, a Yid and lived in our Stadt, you know, it wasn't just Auschwitz, it was the gas chambers in Auschwitz, they closed the door, and somebody said to him, you think Hashem can save us? Even now, you sure as Hashem can Rabbi in, and the door opened again, they took a couple of them out, and he was saved. I know, and you've known some incredible Yid who went through the camps and came out still showing termits, but I never knew anybody like this. 6 years of age, gone through it again. Incidentally, the good news is that he survived, as did the sister, they married twins, and had children. I was with him 3 weeks ago by coincidence, but saying share elsewhere, he brought one of his Amy clips to show me. That's what But I never knew anybody as great as this man. Experimented on for 2-3 years with his sister by Mengele. And when he sees a lover in his arm, what does he think? Gamki Hale the gates of lovers. Ship's Bart's name. Unbelievable. Rabbi, we went to Auschwitz for you. And Cloud was all in terrible trouble. And they only hate us because we're loyal to your towering basis. Yeah, we get things wrong. But give them a good. Give them a good people. And now we need help. Such a massive outbreak of terrible hatred, we need help. It's a question of doing it. So I've told you this before, I'd like you to do it. Here's the challenge. I've been writing about this, I've been saying this all over the world. It will certainly touch you. And that is, I want you to think of somebody you used to be close to. Because the interesting thing and the irony is, with all that tremendous hatred against us, at the same time, it's such a achdus. Such a achdus is strong has been generated. And Cloud is strong because it's not, this is not a maybe anymore. We've been here before, 70 years ago, in one human lifetime. Again, the same shouts have killed the Jews. An exact same reaction from the world that should have be defending us. Same as last time. Collusion and pretending it's not happening, or covering their ears and covering their eyes. Cloud is showing us. Cloud showing us. And there's been incredible happens through. So here's the challenge. You all know what it says in the last words in Shas. In Baruch once he clean massive bracha el shalom. Hashem can only find one container for his brachas, and that's shalom. And the Dubna Magig is the muscle of the barrel. If the barrel is crafted and made properly, then the boards stick together rigidly. You can pour in wine, whiskey, beer, whatever you want, and it stays there. But if there's perud, if there's splitting, if we split apart, no matter how much Hashem Yisborah pours in, it just pour out. That means, see, the brachas of Hashem Yisborah are constant, unchanging. He's pouring his brachas on us all the time, just to be split. So in all this hatred, but Hashem would come close together. So here's the challenge. I would like you, and I think I may have told you this before, I would like to think of somebody you used to be close to. It may have been a friend, it may have been a family member. Rahman Islam might have been a father, son, daughter, mother. And this is what you got to do. You've got to be careful here. It only works if you do the following thing. I want you to go from here, think about that person, and you phone them up. I don't know the last time you phoned them up. It was 5 years ago or 10 years ago, it doesn't matter. Then you say, hello, it's me. I know you want to slam down the phone, but please don't slam down the phone. I've been thinking about why we fell out and how we haven't spoken for such a long time. And I've been thinking, and I know that it was entirely and 100% my fault. Now, I know you don't think it was, otherwise you'd have made that phone call 10 years ago. But that's what you're going to say. And then you add, it's important, I'd like to come and apologise in person. So here's my prediction, and I've done this with people, and it works. By the time you get there, you're going to find that the old friend or the mishpacha are going to turn and say, it wasn't all your fault. And you'll find that you've recovered a friend, or a brother, a sister, and Rahman Islam, a parent or a child. Now, I can't guarantee this. In fact, I once, in Steam Court show, a young keeper suggested this. And a fella came up to me 2 weeks later and said, I'm furious with you! Furious with you! And I said, why? I did exactly what you said. And I phoned up my brother. And he drove me to drop dead. Now, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's sad that you tried. Because the building of Achdus and Shalom means every bracha Hashem Yisborah is constantly pouring on us. But I said this in Los Angeles 3 weeks ago. I got a phone call 2 days later from somebody who said, Rabbi Rubinstein did it. I haven't spoken to my brother for 15 years. We were on the phone for an hour and a half. It's not just always a question of asking Hashem to do something. Somebody says, you do something. But we, as he is Avinu, and he would never let us go. And incidentally, everything I've told you is nonsense. I think I've told you it's nonsense. Moshe Rabbeinu's defensive clause. Moshe Rabbeinu knew the defense before Moshe Rabbeinu opened his mouth. So if he knew the defense, why does he let Moshe make the defense? He didn't need to hear it, but we needed to hear it. We needed to hear that it's not always our fault. We needed to hear that there's good things in Klal Yisrael, and we needed to remind ourselves that we are loyal to Torah and mitzvahs. That's why they hear it. If we do our bit, as the bracha is constant, then we can ask Hashem to make sure that this terrible hatred finishes once and for all. He is God said it, but never again.